All right, officially live. How's it going, everybody? WonderBro here at 2 o'clock my time in the evening. 2 o'clock in the evening. That's odd. You guys don't get to see that very often. For now, I've got my sleep schedule fixed. We'll see how long that actually lasts, though. We'll see how long that actually lasts. On today's stream, we're going to be talking about no amount of anxiety or worry will change anything, which seems very obvious. That seems very, very obvious, right, on the surface. You're probably thinking to yourself, of course, we know that, we realize that, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth today, because even though it seems obvious, it's something that needs to be spoke about, I believe. We're going to give it a few minutes to let some people get in here. Beth, how you doing? Olivia, welcome. Bert, hello. What's happening, WonderBro? Not a whole lot. Hanging out. Hey bro, I made it live. Yeah, we might see some new faces in here today. We might see some new faces because normally we don't stream at normal hours. So we might see some new faces. How is everyone doing today? An early stream. Yeah, we might see some new people in here because we're actually streaming at a decent hour, which normally doesn't happen here on the channel. Danielle, hello, welcome. Joyce, hello. Hi, WonderBro, hello, how are you doing? So I know, like I said, I know the title of this stream seems very obvious. No amount of anxiety or worry will change anything. That seems very, very obvious, but it's something that I feel like needs to be spoke about. I'm just now getting over a sickness myself, so my nose might be a little runny. I don't know what I had. It lasted like 3 or 4 days. I was extremely lightheaded, dizzy, very, very weak. I felt like a zombie. I had no appetite. I couldn't really sleep. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough, but today I feel like I'm finally over it. Hi, WonderBro. I love you. Keep doing your job. Much love from Trinidad. Awesome. It's been cold as crap, part of anxiety. Is being cold as crap part of anxiety. Sorry about that. Yes, hot and cold flashes, common. Craig, hello. Hi, just found you this weekend. I definitely need your info. I'm listening to all your videos. That is awesome. Welcome. Hello, WonderBro. Hello, Donna. John, hello. Have I ever had a fear of sleep? No, not necessarily. I struggled with being able to sleep when I was sensitized. Most people who are sensitized do struggle with being able to sleep, but not necessarily a fear of sleep. Hi, WonderBro from England. Looking forward to this because the title header is exactly what I need to hear right now. Yes, so let's get into that. We're about 3 minutes into the stream, so I feel like anyone who wants to join us live is already here. So let's get into the actual stream, and then we'll get back to reading comments and hanging out for a bit. So no amount of anxiety or worry will change anything. Okay, seems obvious, right? But let's talk about that. So when we worry, what are we doing? When we worry, what is that? What is that? What is worry? Worry, okay, is when you get involved with the thoughts that come into your mind. Okay, keep in mind you can't pick and choose what thoughts into your mind. So if worries come into your mind, that's not necessarily your choice. That's something that just kind of happens automatically in the brain. So do not beat yourself up for having worries or negative thoughts come into your head because you don't choose to think those thoughts. They just kind of happen. Okay, first and foremost. So when that happens, where does worry begin? Where does it get its fuel? When does the ball start to get really rolling with the worry? That starts when the thoughts enter your mind. You have the thoughts knock on your door, right? And you open that door. You make the mistake of opening that door. Instead of just accepting the presence of the thoughts, letting them come and go, you make the mistake of opening that mental door and getting involved with the thoughts. So that's when worry really starts to begin. That's when worry really starts to take over, is when you open the door to those negative mental thoughts. So you're in that moment, what can you do? You've opened the door to those thoughts. You've gotten involved with them. They've now got a full head of steam. They're now rolling, okay? And this is what we call worry. So what typically tends to happen with worry is We entertain one negative thought, and then another comes, and another, and before we know it, okay, we are head over heels with all of these different thoughts, and it can start with one little negative thought that we entertained and lead to so many more, so much bigger negative thoughts, and they really just start to take over, and before you know it, you spend all day long worrying about this, worrying about that, okay? But worry and anxiety will never actually change anything. As human beings, we make most of our decisions in the blink of an eye, okay? You can sit around and worry about something for days on end, weeks on end, months on end, maybe even years on end, and if said thing even ever happens, okay, that's an important thing to note. Most of the time our worries don't even happen, but let's say said thing, just for the sake of this video, said thing does happen, okay? All those months and weeks and years and days of worry that you did are not really going to come into play, because if said thing does happen, you're going to make a very quick decision. That's how we do as human beings. We make a decision. When it's time to make a decision, we take action, we make a choice, okay? All of the worry, okay, therefore did not serve us, because in that instant, okay, if said thing happens, we make a choice right then and there. All of that worry was completely useless, completely pointless. We don't even take into consideration all the worrying that we did. When said thing, if said thing ever does happen, when said thing happens, we make a choice. We make a choice right there in the moment that serves us best, and we get on with our life. So all of the worry that we did prior to this event, wasted time. So sitting around worrying and entertaining all of those negative thoughts as they come is a completely pointless activity, completely futile, and you really have to understand that on a deep level. You can't just tell yourself, well, my worry and my anxiety over said thing, over said imagination, because that's what it is, right? If it hasn't happened, it's completely imaginary and may never happen. You know, my worry, it serves no point, right? It serves no point. No, you really have to realize it deeply. You really have to realize it on a deep fundamental level that your worry is completely futile. And once you come to that realization and that acceptance of the fact that you can worry about something all day long, but there's actually, in reality, nothing is changing. You're not actually changing anything. There's no action being taken. You cannot solve, okay? You cannot solve an imaginary event in your head. There is no solving an imaginary event in your head. What you can do is sit around all day and twist and turn up in the mind and stress yourself completely out, because we know that the body does not know the difference between worry and a real actual danger or threat. So all you're really accomplishing at the end of the day is stressing your body completely out, getting into that anxious state. So what can we do about it? Well, the first step is to make sure that you realize on a very fundamental and deep level that your worry is completely futile. It's not actually changing anything in reality. The only thing it's actually doing is stressing yourself out to a point where now you're going to have an even tougher time making decisions if you get to the point where you do need to make a choice or, you know, work on something. You're going to be in a more stressed out state. So the only thing worry is actually doing is hurting you to make the right choices. The only thing worry is actually doing is making it harder for you to make the right choices in life. So not only is worry completely futile, but it also just makes it even harder for you to overcome things, to deal with things in life. That's the only thing worry really accomplishes. So once you understand that on a deep, deep level, what can you then do about it? I know a lot of people watching the stream are probably thinking, well, it's not my choice, but you need to take personal responsibility, okay, for your worry, and realize that it is your choice when you open the door to those negative thoughts. So we need to be able to feel our feelings, and we need to be able to let thoughts come and go without getting involved with either one of them. Negative thoughts can knock all day. We don't have to open the door, okay? We can watch and observe, except we don't have to open the door. Feelings can come, uncomfortable feelings that we don't necessarily enjoy, but we don't have to label or judge. So if you're laying in bed right now and you've got these feelings that you find uncomfortable, you can take two routes, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but this is important. We can take two routes when we're feeling feelings we don't necessarily like. We can either get involved with them and resist them and tell ourselves things like, this is horrible, I feel so bad, I wish I could just run away from this feeling, I wish I could change it, there's something wrong with me. You know, we can take that route. Okay, and then that's just like taking your fingers into an open wound, shoving them in and digging them around. That's all you're doing if you go that route. Or we can go a second route, which is to not judge or label our feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they may be, not judge or label them as they come. So we're going throughout our day, and that's true acceptance. It's to feel the feelings we feel without that mental dialogue, without that second fear, as Dr. Claire Weeks put it, to feel our feelings without getting so involved and adding all of that second fear and adding all of that negative mental interpretation. All that's doing is getting you even more worked up and putting you in a place where you feel like, oh, this is so bad, this is so uncomfortable, I got to do something about this. And now you're even more worked up, you're even more stressed out. Okay, so you can go one or two ways, and that applies to your thoughts too. You can open the door to negative thoughts and get involved with your worry and accomplish absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Or you can realize that it's a passing, right? Our feelings come and go all the time. We never feel the same way for too long. Our thoughts come and go all the time. We never think the same thing for too long. We can in spurts. It can come and go and come and go, but it's always changing. So we're just going with the flow. If we feel anxious, it's okay to feel anxious. If we feel a certain way we don't want to necessarily feel, that's okay. We're going to drop the labels. We're going to drop the judgment. We're going to drop the negative mental interpretations, the false beliefs. We're going to drop all that and let ourselves feel how we feel without the mental dialogue, without the negative, scary mental dialogue, because that's the second fear, as Dr. Claire Weeks called it, the second fear. So we're going to let the feelings come without getting involved. We're going to let the thoughts come. We're accepting that we feel this way. We are accepting that the thoughts are coming, but we're no longer opening the door, okay? And that's the point of today's stream. It's futile to worry. It's futile to resist your anxiety. We can reach a more calm state if we just drop that inner battle, let the feelings be there, but we carry on with our days with a smile. We let those thoughts come and go, but we no longer get involved because it's 110% futile and accomplishes nothing. That is true acceptance. It all comes back to not adding second fear, so you can give those nerves a break. It's not always going to feel great. You're not always going to feel fantastic when you're sensitized, but that's okay because we're no longer labeling or judging, right? We're no longer labeling or judging. So that was the point of today's stream. I hope somebody takes something from it. We're going to read some comments now and hang out for a minute. There's no way I'll be able to scroll all the way up and catch all the comments that I've missed, but I'll scroll up as far as I can. Let's see. Healing comes within and accepting. Just keep living life like you're okay. Most anxious people are so smart, they try to be finding all the analytics of their thoughts and symptoms. You are healthy, yes. Overthinking it, right? Allow and accept, yes. Accept and know that the fear is false. I'm not fearful anymore and letting it come and go, but body aches and I'm so tired. I can't seem to get rested and muscles are rigid. Is this to be expected? Yes. But your body will eventually heal. Sounds like you're right on track. How do I donate? You can donate through the PayPal, shorter1993 at live.com, shorter1993 at live.com. Donations are never required, but I am always so grateful for that. Wonder Bro, you just described me 100%. I'm trying to get it through my thick skull. I have a stubborn mind. Yeah, a lot of people do get unnecessarily worked up about their anxiety, and that's how you end up in the sensitized boat, is what you tell yourself about your anxiety, what you continue to feed yourself about your anxiety, all of this negativity, all of this second fear. When you react to anxiety with more fear, you're going to get more anxiety and fear, because anxiety is how your brain protects you. It doesn't know that you're afraid of the anxiety itself. So if you keep telling yourself negative things about the anxiety, fearful things about the anxiety, the brain's going to give you even more anxiety because it doesn't know any better. It's trying to protect you. So the more negative beliefs you hold about your anxiety, the more you fight it, the more anxiety you get. And that's the cycle. That's the fear cycle that people are stuck in. How do I find a spiritual girlfriend? I don't know. I need an answer to that question myself. I keep moving forward. I'm trying not to add second fear, but sometimes it's really hard. It is a habit. It is a habit. Don't beat yourself up. Continue to practice. Hi, Chris. Started feeling different about my anxiety. Not good, not bad. Feeling very depressed. Feels like crying. Any advice? Continue to use the advice here on the channel. The two main keys, okay? It's not always, recovery isn't always going to be in a straight line, right? You're going to have those days where all you want to do is cry. You're going to have those days where it seems like you're failing. But as long as you keep trying, as long as you keep practicing the information that I'm giving you here on the channel, you're eventually going to get there, okay? You're eventually going to get there. When I recovered, I realized how much time I wasted obsessing over individual symptoms because they all eventually disappear through acceptance. They really do. Yes, Grace, 110%. Hey, Wonder Bro, do you think anxiety has anything to do with spiritual awakening? I think anxiety can lead to a spiritual awakening if said person finds the right advice. My main symptom, I pretty much had every symptom in the book, especially when I was at my worst. But the one I feared the most was the adrenaline. I thought I was going to go crazy. That's what I feared the most. I'm on an anxiety forum. I stopped reading a lot of that every day. But I do get on sometimes and tell people about you, Wonder Bro. Well, thank you very much for that, Mindy. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sure, I am behind on comments. $10 donation from DJ Kelly. Thank you so much, DJ. I appreciate that. $10. Thank you. You were so kind. Can we get, can everyone spam the chat with clap emojis? That's a new thing that we're doing here on the channel. Anytime someone sends a donation, we spam the chat with the clap emojis to let that person know that we are very thankful and grateful for them. So if everyone could spam the chat to thank DJ for that $10 donation. Thank you so much, DJ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are all grateful for you here. How long did it take you to heal? It took me quite a while, and that was because I knew the advice for a long time, but I wasn't actually using it. You can find out more about my story in the My Story video. I think I've made 2 or 3 of those by now, probably. But yeah, it took me a bit. I'd say it took me about a year to get 100%. Don't let that scare you. It got much, much easier as time went on. It didn't take me a year to feel relief. It took me a year before I was like, okay, I'm 100%. No, I actually started to feel relief rather quickly as I started using the advice. I just say that it took me a year to be 100%. Thank you, Chris. No problem, John. It is okay to fail. It is okay to fail. We all, you know, we're human beings. You're not going to be perfect at this. Chances are you are not going to be perfect. What kind of things do you do to be positive? A lot of present moment living. I love to be as present as possible. You know, not get involved with any worries in my mind. Just be here in the here and now. That's a very positive way to live. It's a very good practice for you to have. So I like to do a lot of present moment living. Other ways to be positive while I'm present, I like to bring gratitude into my life and be grateful for the things that I do have. That is a good way to change, you know, your feelings around pretty quick. $10 sent, Wonder Bro. Thanks again for everything. You're my main guy. Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. You are awesome. You do not have to donate, but thank you so much for doing that. It really, really helps me out a ton. Seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Did I ever go to the doctor? I never went to the doctor during my bouts of sensitization because I was pretty much bedbound for most of it. But when I was younger and I was experiencing just like mild anxiety, I went to the doctor once over it, and that was about it. They tried to put me on medication. I took it for like a week and stopped taking it. I'm using your advice. It's helped a lot so far. However, other people seem to think I'm not getting better fast enough. Well, tell those other people to mind their own business, okay? You're using the advice, you're doing the best you can do, continue to learn, continue to practice, continue to grow, okay, and you will learn and grow at your own rate. Tell those other people to mind the business, all right? Well, Wonder Bro, have you removed people that were close to you since anxiety because they didn't get it or that have been toxic? I do try to protect my energy if I can, you know. If I notice there's someone in my life that is toxic for me, I do try to distance myself from said person. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with protecting your energy. Don't Google stuff. I would give this advice to anyone. Yes, stay off Google. Stay off Google. Whatever you do, stay off Google. Stay off Google. I cannot stress that enough. We've spoken about that a few times here on the channel, more than a few times here on the channel, the importance of staying away from Google. Why not be a psychologist? That would require a lot of money. Okay, a lot of money. I don't know if I could be a psychologist with all of the bells and whistles I've got going on, my whole get up. I don't know if that's even something I could do. Would they allow me to be a psychologist? I love my YouTube family, and honestly, you can make a career out of YouTube. You really can, and I want to stay focused on it. Right? I want to give all of this advice to people for free, and help as many people as I can here on the channel. I feel like I can reach more people here on the channel, honestly, than I ever could being a psychologist. I feel like I could reach way more people here on the channel. What did I do to stay patient with myself during recovery? I just told myself each and every day, the more, I wake up each and every day, the more I do, the more I practice this, the more I really stay on the ball and dedicate to this, the better I'm going to continue to feel. So I just continue to remind myself that, continue to give myself that motivation. Thanks, Wonder Bro. You were awesome. Positive vibes from California. Thank you so much for that, Dave. I'm almost positive Dr. Google caused my sensitization this go around. Yeah, Dr. Google's horrible. Wonder Bro, what has your diet been like? My diet is shit. I eat nothing but bullshit. Wonder Bro, does anxiety make you feel on edge, like you have to hold on to something? I feel that way sometimes. Anxiety means to get you moving from threats, right? From dangers. So you're going to feel that urge to just run. And that's a part of that alarm. The fear of death and the fear of hell, religious OCD, all of this, these are all very common OCD thoughts to have while you're anxious or sensitized. Really everything becomes a much bigger deal than it is when you're in a sensitized state. And if you continue to entertain those sorts of thoughts, just like the point of this stream says, that's going to get you nowhere. It's completely futile. And when you're in a sensitized body, a sensitized state, it's going to seem much more important than it actually is anyway. So entertaining it, not only is it futile, but when you're in this sensitized state, okay, you're going to pay a bigger price in the body. You're going to pay a bigger price for it. Chances are, once you heal, once you're over the sensitization, you're not even going to think about these things the same way that you think about them now. Any tips? The tips that I'll always go back to, two main keys: to accept our feelings without reacting fearfully to the fear, show the brain there's no real danger, and do not entertain those negative thoughts. Always going to come back, when people ask for tips, always going to come back to the two main keys because that's fundamental. Do you think psychiatrists really understand what we go through with anxiety? or they're just happy to collect their cash. I think some psychiatrists might understand it, but I think more psychiatrists don't understand it than do, and that's just my opinion. I was never necessarily scared of any diseases in particular. Does not eating for a long period of time affect anxiety? It can make your anxiety symptoms seem worse, because if you don't eat for a long period of time, you could start to get a little lightheaded, a little dizzy maybe, and that can seem to, get your anxiety started a bit, get you overthinking a bit, so it can make your symptoms seem worse. Hi, Wonder Bro, watching from SeaWorld Orlando on vacation. That is awesome. Taking anxiety with me everywhere, not going to spoil it. That is amazing, Craig. Proud of you. Hello, Holds. Welcome to the stream. For that dark impending doom feeling that we get from panic episodes, how did you deal with it? What was your thought processes during these events? Always coming back to the two main keys. Always, always, always. So when you get that impending doom feeling, understand that it's a false alarm that's ringing, but there's actually no real danger. So we need to show the brain that now. That is the key. I agree with the psychiatrist. Mine likes to push the pills. Yeah, just in my personal opinion, I think more psychiatrists don't understand it than do, simply because I think the best way to learn about anxiety is to actually experience it. And when I thought about making the channel, that's something I took into consideration. I was like, do people want to hear this certain, this type of advice from a suit and tie that's never actually experienced it and only read about it in books? Or do they want to hear this advice from someone who has been there, someone who's been down in the trenches and was bedbound, peeing in bottles at one point, and has now recovered? Who would people rather hear this sort of advice from? And I was like, you know what? People might actually want to listen to me talk. They might want to listen to me talk because I've actually been there and done that. And I think people will like that. I think they'll like that. I think they'll appreciate that. I know for me personally, I would rather get my advice from someone who's been there, done that, and overcome it than someone who's just kind of read about it and went to school for it. You know what I mean? Hey, Wonder Bro. Hello, welcome to the stream. Did Wonder Bro get a new tat above the left eyebrow, and what does it say? Yes, we got a new tat. The three bats are fairly new. Those are fairly new as well. And this one right here says Lux. It stands for light. So it's just a way to kind of reflect my spiritual side, my spiritual viewpoints on things. I have a quick question, my friend. I no longer care about any of my outer physical symptoms to the point I rarely ever feel them. They do not bother me, but I am still very nervous. So this is just another symptom that you need to let more time pass, as Dr. Claire Weeks put it. This is just another symptom. So the more we continue down this path of acceptance, the more the nerves will heal, and this takes time. This takes time. So just keep that in mind. The only people who know what we are going through is people like you, Chris. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can go to school for this sort of thing and learn and read about it, but to truly understand it, I feel like you have to have had experience with it. Unreality thoughts. So basically, we don't want to open the door to these thoughts. I mean, the thoughts can knock, but it only becomes a problem when we get involved and give them fuel. But we can let them knock. We don't have to open the door, and sometimes they will knock loud, but we still don't have to open the door. And what I mean by open the door is fuel to the fire, getting involved, arguing with. If you've never dealt with anxiety or panic disorder, it's hard to relate with someone who does. I agree with that. I wish my family was a little more educated on the subject as well. I come from a Mexican family, and mental illness seems not to be a part of our culture. Well, that's why we have the channel. You know, people feel alone with this thing, but you don't have to feel alone. Not here on the channel. Not here on the channel. And you can check out the Discord. We have a live Discord chat that's always going. Link should be in the description somewhere. Should be in the description somewhere. It's completely free. Wonder Bro, did you take any supplements? I did not. How's Nova? Nova is probably sleeping somewhere. Nova's probably passed out somewhere by now, I would say. I As someone who dated a therapist, I can tell you they're pretty much taught in college to push medication above all else because it funds big pharma. Yes, 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 yes. That comment right there. That comment right there. I mean, I can't speak for every therapist out there, but I would say most of the time, they're taught to, like that comment says, push medication, and that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. I've been in the medical field for 15 years, and the stuff I'm experiencing right now is not something I would ever have thought was possible. It can affect anybody. That's the thing about anxiety, sensitization. It has no type. It can affect anybody at any point. Is anxiety hereditary? I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. Anxiety being hereditary, I'm not so sure about that. What I am sure about is no matter what you think the cause of your anxiety is, it comes down to one thing. That one thing being not adding second fear. So whether it's hereditary, or you think you got it from some sort of trauma, or somewhere in the past it developed for this reason or that reason, whatever the cause may be, I don't think is very important. I think what's important moving forward is how you heal your nerves, the advice that you learn, and how you go about it, making these changes to your brain, right? I think that's what's important. So instead of worrying too much about root cause or, this or that, worry now about, okay, I'm in this state, this is my current life, but I have the skills now and the knowledge now that I need to retrain my brain and be who I want to be. And that's what's important. I have learned the never open the door technique. I'm 100% sure that acceptance is working for me because I feel it. But sometimes, like once a week, the symptoms are bad, and that's okay. You're making progress, and not every day is going to be perfect. You are making progress, and anytime your anxiety is turned on, that is when your brain is learning the most. So take advantage of those rough days. Take advantage. I went to a therapist for 3 months in the beginning of sensitization. Her advice was similar to yours, and when I left counseling, I used your advice to continue my recovery. I have felt my old self come back. That is so awesome. So happy for you. That is amazing. Now that I'm close to recovery, I'm feeling almost too calm, to the point that I feel unproductive. Did you experience something similar? The way to look at that is you're coming down from a lot. You're making big changes. So of course you're going to be a bit exhausted. Accept that. You're going to be a bit exhausted and tired. You will get back into the swing of things eventually. I agree about psychiatrists not knowing about anxiety, as most have never had it. Thank you, Chris, for your channel and for the fact you understand. It is my pleasure. Happy to help. I left you lunch money just now. Lunch money. Oh, thank you for that $25 donation, Craig. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Can we get a bunch of clap emojis in the chat, please? That's like our new thing, okay? We announced this like our last stream. Anytime someone donates and I read it out, we start doing clap emojis. That's the new thing. I want that to become the new thing, just to let the donators know that we are thankful and grateful for them. Okay. Thank you so much for the $25 donation, Craig. Really appreciate that. You are awesome, my friend. I probably will actually buy lunch with that. As a matter of fact, I might order some food. Being a nurse, I can 100% agree to that comment. Pushing narcs is what we do all day, unfortunately. It is big pharma. Any advice as a nurse for advocating for mental health? Stay out of the hospital and ER. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So that's like the second comment we've had about how people that's actually been a therapist or in the medical field or dated a therapist, I think that comment said, they are taught to push medication, and that is unfortunate. I can't tell you whether or not you should take medication. That's completely up to you. That is your choice. I'm not telling you to stop taking your meds. I'm not telling you to not take meds. That's on you. That's completely up to the person watching this if they want to take medication or not. Me personally, I wanted to go the natural route, and I'm here to tell you that you can too. If that's the way you want to do it, you can do it, okay? But it's completely up to you. Completely up to you. Thank you again, Craig, for that $25 donation, and thank you again, DJ, for that $10 donation. You guys are awesome. Mwah. Thank you so much. All those clap emojis. Yeah, let's get into that habit, okay, guys? Try to remember that. Anytime I read out donations on stream, everybody just start spamming the clap emojis. I want it to get to the point where I don't even have to remind anybody to do it. Can we make that a thing? Wonder Bro, do you feel thankful for having gone through sensitization? As awful as it was, I wouldn't take it back because I have learned so much and made so many positive changes in my life. I agree 110%, Grace. Sensitization was a blessing in disguise. It taught me so many skills that I wouldn't have known otherwise. And even though I'm no longer sensitized, I still use these skills to this day. As a human being, of course, I have thoughts that come. I have worries that try to come. They may not be anxiety related, but as a human being, we have negative thoughts. So I still use the skills, okay, the same skills that I used to overcome sensitization that I'm teaching here on the channel now. I still use those skills in my daily life, just to live a more peaceful life. Chris, how can I overcome intense fear because it consumes me and I don't know what to do? It's too overpowering to just accept it at times. I'm having a hard time today. You have to watch your mental. So you have these strong feelings of fear, but those feelings in themselves are not necessarily causing the suffering. What's causing the suffering is the voice in the head that you're identified with that says, I don't want to feel this way, or I need to stop feeling this way, or I need to run from this, or this is horrible, or this is terrible, or whatever the negative little voice in the head is saying. You're so identified with that as who you are, and now that's causing the suffering. The feeling itself, okay, no doubt can be uncomfortable, but it doesn't go beyond that. It turns into suffering when we get involved with the negative voice in the head, when we identify with the negative voice in the head that says I shouldn't feel this way, or I don't want to feel this way, or I need to run from this, or this is horrible. That negative voice in the head that we entertain about the feelings is what causes the feelings to then become suffering, because now we're in resistance, because now we're in this state where we want to get away from the way that we feel. But the more that we want to get away from the way that we feel, the more suffering we cause, and we continue to fuel these feelings of anxiety because now we're really worked up. So it's ironic. We're not actually doing anything to help ourselves when we try to run from these feelings. We're not actually doing anything to help ourselves, okay, when we get involved with that negative voice in the head. When we get involved with that negative voice in the head that doesn't want to feel the feelings you're feeling, and you become that voice in the head that says, I don't want to feel the way that I'm feeling, now you're really in for it. Because now you've become this negative entity that's not even you. You're the awareness behind the voice in the head, but now you've become the voice in the head, the negative voice in the head, and that's where suffering really begins to start. So feelings by themselves, not necessarily suffering. Can they be uncomfortable? Sure. But suffering? Not necessarily. True suffering comes with second fear. True suffering comes with identification with the negative voice in the head that says, I don't want to feel the way I do. But here's the thing. You do feel the way you do. Okay, but the more you get involved with the mind that says, I don't want to feel the way that I do, the more worked up you get, the more suffering it becomes, the stronger these feelings get. So it's not necessarily so much about making the feelings just stop, because that's not possible. That'll be the end result of healing. What it is about is not adding the second fear. What it is about is not getting involved with that negative voice in the head, or becoming that negative voice in the head that doesn't want to feel the way you feel, okay? To look at our feelings from a neutral standpoint without evaluation, to look at our feelings from a place of just neutral. So, and that's acceptance. I accept the way that I feel, okay? I'm not going to add to it with second fear. Not going to get involved with the inner voice, the negative inner voice. That's where it truly becomes suffering, because now I've become something I'm not. The voice in the head that doesn't want to feel the way it feels. You're not the voice in the head that doesn't want to feel that way. You are the awareness. You are the person who heard the voice in the head say, I don't want to feel the way I do, and it's horrible and awful. You were aware. Okay, you are that awareness of the voice in the head that says that. You are not the voice in the head that says that. Okay? When you know yourself as the awareness, you can just watch those thoughts come and go and not become them. But when you become the voice in the head that doesn't want to feel the way you feel, then you're really in for a time. You're really in for a rough time. So that was a very long answer to your question, Craig. Very long answer to your question, but a very, very important points had to be made there. So thank you for that. Thank you for that question. Let's see. And I hope, okay, I hope also that you guys realize when you watch these streams and you learn this advice, really take it to heart, right? You know, don't just listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth and then contemplate them for a second and let go of it and never actually contemplate it. Contemplate it. Really think about what I'm saying here. See the truth behind what I'm saying. Actually think about it for a moment. Really take it in. Really absorb it, okay? And really start to use it. The answers that you're looking for, they're here. I'm giving them to you, okay? But if it's just going in one ear and out the other, it's not going to do much for you. It's not going to do much for you. I know when I was in a sensitized state that I would read all sorts of, helpful knowledge when I actually found helpful knowledge. Most of the time it was bullshit. But when I actually found helpful knowledge, it would kind of tend to just go in one ear and out the other. And I understand when you're in a sensitized state, it can be a bit more difficult to absorb information, but really try. Yeah, put on that smile and act confident regardless, Josh. Your brain will catch up. Your brain will catch up. So we're accepting our feelings. We're accepting our thoughts without entertaining them. And we're getting on with the day. We're putting on a smile. We're being confident. Okay? We're letting those feelings come. I feel like crap internally, right? I've got all this fear going, but I'm continuing on with my day anyway. I'm getting things done anyway. I'm not entertaining those thoughts anyway. I'm using acceptance anyway. And that is the point. We accept our feelings, but we don't let them stop us from doing anything that we want to do. We don't let them stop us from using positive behaviors, okay? From showing the brain that there's no real danger. We don't let our feelings stop us from that. We accept that they're there. We're not running from them, but we're showing the brain that they're not needed. We're showing the brain that they're not needed. What is desensitization or sensitization? Sensitization is when you get to the point that your nerves are just so tired and fragile that they're willing to pop off over everything with an exaggerated response of anxiety, be it your own thoughts, okay, or even minor stimuli out in the world. That's sensitization, basically tired nerves. Desensitization is when you get to the point where you've used acceptance, you've stopped following the negative thoughts, you've changed those beliefs, you started using the positive behaviors and just getting on with life, showing your brain there's no real danger. Desensitization eventually comes, and that just means that the nerves are starting to calm back down and they're starting to go back to normal. How do we just say F fear, bring it on, just like you just did? You get to a point where you just either become so sick of the way that you're living that you no longer let the feelings stop you from doing what needs to be done. Eventually you will show your brain that there's no real danger. Okay, you just get so sick of living the way that you're living, which was a big part of why I recovered. I got completely sick of the way that I was living. Just learn the advice, practice it. Get sick of it. Get sick of the way that you're living and realize that you want change. How do I know it's anxiety and not something else? I always recommend that people do get checked out by a doctor, get told that it is anxiety. Get the test done if you want to get the test done. I did once upon a time, long ago, many years ago, before I even was sensitized, when I was just having mild anxiety as a kid. But get checked out by a doctor, get told that it is just anxiety, and then start practicing the advice. So that's what I would recommend. If you are worried and you're being driven insane by the thought of it being something other than anxiety, go get checked out. Put your mind at ease. Put your mind at ease. It's not necessarily that anxiety symptoms intensify when you focus on them. It's more about when you focus on the anxiety symptoms, are you adding second fear? If you're adding second fear while you're focusing on how you feel, then yes, they're going to intensify. But if you're viewing your feelings from a neutral standpoint without all that second fear, that's a different story. Is your anxiety 100% gone? I have what I call normal people anxiety. So as a human being, I still have worries that come and go. I still have feelings of fear, if something happens in my life. I still have negative feelings, but not sensitization, not overreacting, not second fear, none of that junk. That's what I've always called it, because I don't know how else to put that. Normal people anxiety. I went to a therapist and felt like she gave good life advice but had no clue on anxiety. Yes, no second fear will always be... That's what it comes down to, right? No second fear. Second fear doesn't have to be confusing. Second fear is just what you tell yourself about your anxiety. It's just what you tell yourself about your anxiety. So second fear, it's not very confusing. It's, are you going around telling yourself negative things about the anxiety? Are you going around giving in to these negative thoughts and entertaining them all day long? That's basically what second fear is. So when you get a feeling of anxiety, second fear would be to you to jump in and tell yourself, oh, I don't want to feel this way, or this is horrible, or I might die, or I might have a heart attack. This is second fear. Have you tried not smoking to see if it was contributing to your anxiety? No, I've never tried not smoking. In fact, when I was sensitized, that's probably when I smoked the most. When I was sensitized, I probably smoked like 6 packs a day. I don't know why. It was just like, I felt like it was helping. Obviously, that's not true. Cigarettes are, they stimulate you. It's not actually calming. So, but I believe that, right? I believe that. Power of the mind is whatever you believe. So when I was sensitized, I felt like smoking helped. Obviously not true, and I smoked like 6 packs a freaking day. Oh yeah, of course I struggled at the beginning. Of course. Most people do struggle at the beginning with acceptance. Most people do. What do you mean by acceptance? It's hard for me to understand because I feel I can quickly change my thoughts, but then I feel I'm desperately trying to avoid thinking. I'm avoiding not accepting. So acceptance would be to take a neutral standpoint. So thoughts come, negative thoughts come, and we can hash and rehash those thoughts all day long and get involved with them all day long, but it's not going to get us anywhere. It's completely futile. The body is going to pay the price for that. So acceptance is to just adopt a neutral standpoint. So I feel the way I feel, and that's okay. The thoughts are coming, and that's okay. I'm no longer getting involved. So acceptance is to no longer try to get involved. I feel the way I feel, but I'm just going to get on with my day, show my brain there's no real danger. I think the thoughts that I think, they're coming, they're knocking on the door, but I'm not going to open the door. I'm not even going to get involved. So acceptance is really to take a standpoint of, I'm no longer involved. I'm no longer going to try to make the feelings go away. I'm just going to continue on with my day. They're there. I'm not adding to them with second fear. I'm just going to let the thoughts knock. I'm not getting involved with them. It's whatever. There's the thoughts. I can get involved and argue with them all day long. Okay, it's not really going to do anything. I can go that route, but instead, I'm just not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. Sometimes we can overthink acceptance too. Instead, we back out the dialogue. Am I using acceptance the right way? We just move on. Yes, exactly, Holtz. Exactly. What's the story behind the tats? I started it as a way to express my anxiety and depression because no one would understand. Story behind all my tats. Oh wow, there's many stories. Many stories. I'd like to do a tattoo tour video. That's been on my to-do list for a while now. It's just never happened. Maybe eventually. But yeah, if we got on the subject of my tattoos, we'd be here a while. I can explain a few of them. Bats, no significant meaning there. I just really love bats. I don't know why. I just really love bats. The Lux stands for light in Latin. Sorry, tongue-tied. And that just kind of reflects my spiritual side. And the 3 diamonds, the big diamond right here is supposed to represent me, and the 2 smaller ones on the side are supposed to represent my 2 younger brothers. Yeah, so there's a few of them. I've got We're All Mad here. It's underneath my beard. You can't really see it right now. But I've got We're All Mad here, and that's for Alice in Wonderland. I love Alice in Wonderland. I've also got a really big tattoo that runs all the way across my chest. Probably going to get in trouble for showing my nips. I don't know. YouTube's so strict. But yeah, a really big fear tattoo that's inside of a bat. just because I love bats again. But the fear tattoo is just to kind of remind myself what I've been through with fear and how far it's taken me and how fear has had such an impact on my life. But as it turns out, it was a really good thing. It was a really good thing, and I'm very happy about it. I'm very grateful for it. So, fear, right there. Fear has had such an impact on my life, and in really good ways now, because now we've got the channel. Okay, now we're helping so many people every single day. So I wanted to get a tattoo for fear, to show fear that I'm grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you are feeling better. I am feeling much better today. Joe, thank you for being here. You're always an awesome mod. My favorite book, I'm going to have to give that to Dr. Claire Weeks, Hope and Help for Your Nerves. Great tattoos. Thank you. Is it okay to feel like total shit for months? Yes. Yes, it is. Is fear and anxiety intertwined? Fear is basically anxiety. Anxiety basically is fear. Yeah. Wonder bro, if I dedicate to the 2 main keys, even if I fail but still moving forward and using advice, can I get better? Yes. Yes, you're not going to be perfect at this. It's okay to have those days. Did the weather ever affect my anxiety? Not necessarily, or at least I don't think it did. I think, you know, of course, what affected my anxiety the most was the second fear that I was adding. That'll always be what affects your anxiety the most. Always, always, always. How have you been, Joe? How have you been? Well, we've had a good stream today. We've only been streaming for about an hour, and I felt like I have not stopped talking. I feel like I have not stopped talking throughout that entire hour. Did anyone ever call you crazy? I never really spoke with anyone when I was severely sensitized. I pretty much stayed to myself and away from people. You know, some people like to be surrounded by people when they feel fear. I was kind of the opposite. So I never really put myself in positions where people had the chance to call me crazy, because no one ever really seen me at my worst. I'm good, bro. Got to get back to work, though, unfortunately. Hope everyone has a great day. Well, thanks for stopping by, Joe. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, we have approached the 1 hour mark, and honestly, I've been speaking non-stop, so I'm ready to take a little bit of a break. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, but it was an awesome one. It was an awesome one. Thank you for all of your great questions. I really, really appreciate that, and thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you for our 2 donations today. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate the donations. And thank you for the fact that we are almost at 10K. None of this stuff that I just mentioned would be true without you guys. So thank you so, so much. I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Hopefully I answered most of your questions today. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. And if you did, make sure you leave a like, share it out. Let's try to help as many people as possible. I can't grow without you guys. Okay? Mwah. Love you guys. And until next time, as always, boom, right there. Stay awesome.